My name is Manny Santos, former Marine Staff Sergeant, retired 1976. And this story is about part of my life. I was born and raised in Massachusetts. Went into the Marine Corps straight out of my week off from school. I enlisted at the age of 18, and my brother was already in the Corps for 4 years, and he kept telling me not to go into the Corps, so that's why I went into the Marine Corps. First day in the Marine Corps, we flew in down to North Carolina, then took a bus to South Carolina at Parris Island. And just like in the movies, you hear a bunch of noise, all of a sudden you get the DIs charging you guys, get off the bus, get off the bus. And we ended up standing at attention in formation for a couple hours, waiting for them to do what they had to do. Boot camp was tough. I was a little bit overweight, but boy, I was lean and mean when I got out. Marine Corps is really tough on you as far as what you're doing and where you're doing and how you're doing it. It's all up to them. And one little thing happened to me while I was there that really got me going after was I was at a class, had my head down, and the drill instructor told me, Private Santos, get your head up. And the Private Santos said, I can hear you just as well looking down as I can looking up. Whoa, that was a mistake, big mistake. They had me out there the next morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, running all day long with a full pack. So needless to say, they broke me down, and then they build you up at the end of boot camp. Mentally, I was fine. So I just kept saying, I'm going to do it because of this SOB that's making me do it. I'm going to do it just well and be better. And I did. Vietnam War. Served there from June '68 to July '69 as a sergeant. Vietnam, they flew out of Travis Air Force Base in a civilian airplane, and we flew into Nam. And as we got over the Vietnam, we came straight down as a big jet could fly, hit the ground, and went all the way to the nearest bunker so we could get out of the plane because of sniper fire all the time on that area. So getting off the plane, it was June, and very hot, very humid like an oven, very scared. We had no weapons at the time yet. I started off in Da Nang for a couple of weeks of orientation and getting used to the weather, getting issued our weapons, and then I ended up going up north to the DMZ, which was 7 months at Camp Carroll, then LZ Stud, then Vandegrift, and back to Da Nang. I was a crypto analyst and a ditty chaser. What they do is you have a typewriter in front of you, and the enemy sends out Morse code, and we copy it on a typewriter, and we get it to our linguists, and they can tell us, and we tell our grunts where the enemy is and what they're doing. Every once in a while, we would go out on patrol, do what we call directional finding. We'd have about 3 patrols out, listen to the enemy, figure out the frequency, and then at headquarters would get all 3 frequencies, and we could get a square to where the enemy is. Probably was the first day that I took incoming. At our campsite, we had howitzers, 155 howitzers, 175, about 100 yards on the other side of the campsite. Every time they would shoot out, I couldn't tell if it was incoming or outgoing. I duck all the time. The guys that had been there a while said, you'll know the difference. Well, it came one day when I was off duty, out with just my sandals and shorts on, 50 yards from the bunker, and I heard a pop, and it sounded like a freight train coming in, and I hit the ground, and it hit the ground. And then I got up running, and those 50 yards, I probably would have beat anybody in the field. Left my sandals behind, went in there barefooted. From that point on, I knew what incoming would sound like. That's a piece of shrapnel that took a little bit of my left shoulder, and it hit the bunk and stuck in the bunk behind me. That was a very memorable sight. So there's a lot of death going around you, bodies coming in body bags, and the stress is there. constantly. And eventually, it's almost gone at the ending. You get immune to what was going on around you, and you just did what you had to do. When we're off duty, which is normally 12 on, 12 off, we'll play cards like pinochle, maybe poker, cribbage, and read books. That's about it. At pinochle, they thought I was cheating because I was winning all the time. I went into one of the tents one day, and there was a half dozen guys in there eating some peppers of some type, habaneros. And they were just eating them like candy, but I didn't notice they were all Mexican guys. And this white guy comes in there and said, "Yeah, let me try one." They laughed their butts off. I burnt so bad, I had to get water, and that only made it worse. What I needed was something else, like milk. That, I remember that as something funny. November the 18th, 1976. I've got a picture of myself with the check that I got out. I got out with a 10% disability because I had a bad knee from playing football while I was in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, playing against the Navy team. They won. You had nothing out there. You saw people that lived in cardboard houses. You saw people that lived in hooches. You saw people that were starving, people that were dying. So you just wanted to come back to the United States and just appreciate everything you have and everything you own. Well, the best thing you can pass on is support your troops. That's the absolute best thing, no matter what the government is doing, no matter if we think the war is wrong or right, support your troops. You know a Marine. He's always faithful. He's always there. He'll never forget being a Marine, so once a Marine, always a Marine. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. The troops that we have over in Iraq and Afghanistan and any of those troops, we support them. We do everything we can, and we'll make sure they get a good homecoming from everyone. Also, the medals I've earned with a sharpshooter rifle, sharpshooter pistol. And the ratings on your rifle and pistol start at marksman, sharpshooter, and expert. I was expert on both, rather.